finding Chibok girls. It's 28 days now since they've been taken forcefully from their dormitories. Joining us to look at this particular matter is Onyeka Onwenu. She's the Director General, National Center for Women Development. And you're also a concerned mother. Good morning, and thanks for joining us. What's really happening? Why did we have to wait this long before all of this protests?
Well, thank God for the protest. I actually think that the protest has helped us to focus attention on what is going on. It's so saddening. I have difficulty talking about it because I want to cry. And there's a great deal of frustration and anger that this has festered, that's for sure. And also that some people are politicizing it.
You think so?
Yes, I think so. I think we ought to be. This Boko Haram issue has been politicized for a long time, and I think we ought to be very careful about that. There should be no name calling at this stage. What this should do for us is bring us together, should unify the country. Yes, mistakes were made along the line. No government is perfect. No people are perfect. We are not. But this is a time to rally support and come together. Let's find these girls. We welcome everyone's contribution that is constructive. But if it is not constructive, please put it aside. We don't need it at this stage.
Have we really shown any kind of determination or zeal to really arrest the situation before now?
I think so. When all this started, this government did not come out to really speak about the efforts that it was making. But I don't think any government will come and give you the nitty-gritty of their operation. I mean, that would be giving out too much to the enemy. And when the First Lady gathered women together in her office, it was out of that frustration of what is the information? We're not having enough information at that point about these girls. Number one, who are these girls? They must have names. They registered for WAEC. They filled forms. Where are the parents? Not just to go to the street to demonstrate. Come, let's, together, let's find solutions. Let's ask questions. A number of questions did come up. The principal, where were you when this happened? You were not there. Were there any supervision for the girls? The headmistress, no headmistress, no dorm mistress. And how come these girls were left there in a situation where there was no light and no generator, no security, and they were allowed to spend time in that hostel? There were also boys who were registered to take their exams in that particular center. Where were the boys? They were at home. Then why were the girls gathered together and left in a situation where no security was provided for them? And the agencies were saying they didn't know the girls were there actually as boarders. So who was responsible for passing this information? Madam Principal, why didn't you? At what point did you realize something was going on in your domain? And wherever you were, what did you do? Who did you contact? You waited until the following day. So many questions were agitating our minds. Who would provide this information? Wyatt said they had the list. They brought out the names of girls. Okay, Madam Principal, do you have a list? No, it's in my hotel. When you get it, there are names of people who are over 60 years old on that list. What is going on?
Are you sure of that?
Yes. Yes. And I think these are the questions we need to be asking. Mind you, there was a letter written by the Minister for Education asking that these girls in remote areas all be brought together in Maiduguri for the exams. And since security could not be assured for these areas, bring them together. Some of the state governors did not respond, and some said, we can provide security. They will be adequately catered for. And that was not the situation. And these letters, these things are evidence, and they're there in black and white.
Now, if you say there is a list with some names that are not of students,
absolutely,
can we say as a country how many of these students we're looking for? because the issue now has to do with who are we looking for and how many are they? Have we been able to ascertain the true number of girls we're looking for?
I don't know. These were the questions we were asking. I don't know the answer. And I think that our government really has to investigate this thoroughly and find out where the disconnect happened. Because this is a matter of calling up the records. You have the pictures that are beside the names, and you can identify who is supposed to be taking these exams. And we have to ask those questions, and we have to ask not just the federal government, we have to ask the state government, we have to ask the local government. At what point did you find out that there was this movement? Who did you contact? And if you contacted the SSS or the military, tell us. And why did they not do something? Because this number of young girls to be taken away, they were packed away in lorries. The lorries were packed 1.5 kilometers away. So they walked for a long distance. Who saw them? What did you do? These are the questions that we ought to be asking. It's not me. I hope by the end of the day that all this that is happening, I'm a great believer that all things work together for good. I think this is going to help this country to streamline our security operations, to streamline information gathering, intelligence, to streamline what we do when there's an emergency. It's also going to expose a lot of things, I believe, because mistakes were made along the line. And those mistakes, some may have been made by the federal government, but certainly by the local government, certainly by the state government. And that's why I say, instead of pointing fingers, let's put our heads together and say, these mistakes were made, we will not make them again. We will not repeat.
But they all have some explanation to make to the country, because if we say there was an emergency in that particular state and we had some troops, federal troops in those parts of that state, how come the soldiers didn't actually see the movement of these people? How come the police didn't observe any movement? So that is why people are skeptical about the information we're getting. What is truly happening? Because for now, the military high command hasn't actually given us a true picture of what transpired in a state where there is an emergency in place. And we had that movement, which we understand happened in the night.
I'm in total agreement with you. And I think we ought to ask these questions. And at some point, when all the information is collated, that explanations ought to be given to the people. But what I'm saying at this point, is it the time for us to vilify the person of the First Lady who did the right thing by inviting
Has anyone
these people?
done that?
Oh, a lot of that has gone on, and I take offense at it as a woman. You know, when I hear someone like Wole Soyinka on CNN referring to her as that woman, something in me boils, because there's a lack of respect for women. This has happened not just with this First Lady, but with every single First Lady. And perhaps it's when they've passed away or when they've left office that we suddenly realize the contributions that they have made. And these women work very hard and care and love this country. So it really offends me as a woman to see her vilified. And I was at those meetings, and at no point did she say, oh, I don't believe the girls were taken. What we were doing was fact-finding, and thank God for that. Because that's where a lot of the information that we do have has come from. So why pick on her and start vilifying her because she's a woman? I think that's wrong. Well, she's done very well. And I mean, at some point during the meeting, quite honestly, I just thought, put away these cameras. I just want to have myself a cry. Because that was the mood we were in.
Oh, what